Welcome. Today is June 25th. Thank you for joining us. My name is Mireya Sanchez. I am a co-director here at Chelan-Douglas County Volunteer Attorney Services, and I'll be conducting today's candidate interview for Chelan County Clerk. So with me today, I have Charlene Beck. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So the questions that we have today are drawn from the experiences of community members, clients, and the legal community in their interactions with the county clerk's office. So
Okay.
they do reflect a real needs and curiosity from people that your office serves. We have about 5 or 6 questions. We do ask that you keep your responses to about 2 to 3 minutes each, and we'll just let you know if we're starting to bump up against that time, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so to get us started, why don't you go ahead and just briefly introduce yourself and maybe share a little bit about why you're running and what
Okay.
you want to bring to the clerk's office.
Sure. So, my name is Charlene Beck. I grew up in a small town in Idaho, went straight from high school to college in uh, Tacoma to become a court reporter. I finished that program and took my state test and then a national test and passed both of those and came straight to Wenatchee. I went to work for a small court reporting firm. Uh, that's all Wenatchee has historically had is pretty small court reporting firms. And I worked there for, I believe, 4 years. And then myself and another reporter there bought the firm. And we did that for another 10 years. And then I started a different firm, same type of thing with a new partner. And I've been doing that ever since. So I came here in 91. I've been at this for 35 years. And just a little insight into what my business is. It's freelance court reporting. So I do a lot of depositions where I work with private people in civil matters. But one thing I like to do a lot of freelance court reporters don't do is court work. So starting in 91, I would work as a pro se court reporter in the courtrooms in Chelan and Douglas County. And I've done, through those 35 years, I've worked in Chelan and Douglas County, Okanagan, Grant, Adams, probably a couple more too on the fringes of the Wenatchee, the smaller areas surrounding Wenatchee. So I've spent a lot of time in court doing, criminal calendars, criminal trials, civil trials. I think just about everything there is to do in court, I've done at one point or another in one of the counties. And again, I do a lot of civil work with depositions. So over 35 years, I've made a lot of relationships with different attorneys in town. I've seen a lot of them come and go. I was pretty young when I started. I'm not that young anymore. And I've definitely gotten to know a lot of the legal assistants and paralegals and, built some relationships over the years.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, great. Well, thank you for that. Let's go ahead and get started with the questions.
okay.
So the first one is about the role of the clerk's office. And in the legal aid community, there's frequent discussion regarding access to justice. It's a big buzzword for us, and it's something that we're always working towards increasing. We see the clerk's office as a sort of natural partner in that effort, since it's where most people begin their legal matters when they have them. So tell us a little bit about what role you see the clerk and the clerk's office playing in helping to ensure that access for justice.
Well, obviously, just about everything for Superior Court goes through the clerk's office. So, I mean, they do a little bit of everything. You need somebody who's knowledgeable in the courtroom, who understands the procedures. They're the record keeper, and whether everyone likes it or not, when you're at that front desk, you're serving the public. Um, you need to wait on the public, and you need to help them, and you need to make everything easier for them, make their day better, not make it worse. So I think it's really important to have knowledgeable people that are trained and know what they're doing. And I think it's important for everyone there to have a good attitude and be willing to help. And I'm kind of the outsider. I don't work in the clerk's office. I've worked with a lot of clerk's offices with, Court of Appeals, Division 1 and Division 3, and again, all the counties, Grant, Adams, Douglas, all Okanagan. Uh, I've been in all those courtrooms, so I've had an opportunity to see how all those different clerk's offices interact with lawyers, judges, the public. And so, there's all the clerk's offices definitely have a different feel, how they treat people, how they um, do things, just different procedures. And so I feel like so I'm kind of on the outside looking in a little bit, but I definitely have some ideas about how things should be. And I think that, whether you're pro se or you're not, I think whether you have money or whether you don't, no matter what race you are, none of that should matter. I think you should be treated, respectfully. And I think that people need to be there to help you and help you happily and make things go as smooth as possible. We need people that are trained and understand the process so they can guide the people through it that are needing help.
Okay, thank you. So in our community, you spoke about this a little bit, but in our community, we find that those with the greatest need, especially folks who are low income or might be experiencing financial hardship, they can really struggle with meeting the requirements, such as filing fees. So sometimes, you also have people that can be in the same category that can struggle with access to technology that's meant to simplify the process. So with those things in mind, what's one thing that our community can count on for you to do or prioritize in your role as the clerk in service to that access?
Yeah. So, um, again, I just think customer service is huge. And, even though it's a clerk's office, it's an administrative role. When you're at that front counter, your job is customer service. And so you need to help the people with whatever they need. And I don't currently know what the clerk's office has as far as Spanish speaking employees to help. There's a lot I don't know because I'm not in there. I deal with them. So I know some of the frustrations I've had personally, or some of the things like that I've seen that need to be done better. But as far as, I've never myself had to walk up to the counter and not know how to use a computer or know how to get help. So I don't know exactly what they have in place right now, but I do know that somebody needs to be there to help those people with that. I think maybe you have a lot of attorneys or people, legal assistants that know what they're doing, they know what they're after. It's not going to take them long. Maybe you have one person that helps them through the process. And so they're not stuck waiting while somebody else needs to help somebody who needs a lot more time and attention and help. So, I think that's something to look at is maybe there's a line for the legal professionals so they can get through, they can get out in and out, their time's not wasted. And then we have one or two people dedicated to helping the people that need a lot of help, but with whatever it is. But I need to get up there first to know exactly what they're doing and try to get a better idea of what needs fixed and how to fix it. So.
Okay, thank you. So now I'm going to pivot a little bit and ask a question about how the clerk's office works with the court side of things.
Okay.
So many community members don't realize that the clerk's office and the judges are overseen by two different branches of government. So can you explain in simple terms what this means and what might some of the benefits and challenges to the public of this be when it comes to those separate systems as it relates to access to justice?
Yeah. So um, yeah, the judges and the clerk obviously are separate. The clerk's office is there uh, to help the public and to document. And we go into the courtroom, take the minutes. At this point, they've taken away a lot of the court reporters, which is the job I used to do in court. And they're doing a recording system now. So, the clerk's office is really responsible for a lot that happens in court. They take care of all the exhibits. They are the record keepers now, for all that. And the judges, the judges are, they're totally separate from the clerk's office. The clerk's office is there. We assist the judges. We keep records and we help the public, but we are definitely different from the judges. I don't know if that's a very informative answer, but
That's okay. So on that note, though, how do you envision staying in sync with judges' chambers so that clients can get clear, consistent information about what they need to file?
Yeah, well, as the court reporter, I've spent a lot of time in judges' chambers, so yeah, I have no problem going into the judges' chambers. So the current judges, well, Judge Brandt, I worked with him as an attorney in the private sector. Judge Ferreira, I worked with her a little bit, not a lot, but she was with Jeffers Danielson, and I've certainly worked with them for the last 35 years. Judge Jordan was newer to this area. I did do a trial with him in Okanagan County. He was there subbing in for, they needed a judge up there, so I was there too. Yeah. But yeah, I have no problem collaborating and communicating with the judges and the judges, people who work in the judges' chambers. That's what I've always done for the last 35 years in my role. So yeah, I guess that's definitely not an issue for me to make sure we're doing what they need, getting feedback from them and how can we help them. And if there's something that they think that we can do better, happy to try, So,
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. So you've used the word pro se. For those that don't know, that means self-represented people. Here at CDCVAS, our clients are all self-represented with very few exceptions. So those clients often rely on the resources that we provide them or referrals that we make potentially to county offices for assistance with filing or documentation requirements. What are some approaches that you would want to bring to the clerk's office to support those self-represented clients, especially if they're filing with a fee waiver, which can be very confusing?
yeah, well, so like I said, again, I've never worked in the clerk's office myself. I'm kind of the outside person, which I think is good because I can go in there with, no preconceived ideas and see what's going on. And, one of the things I want to do when I go in there is talk to everybody independently who works there to find out from their perspective where they can speak freely to me about what's working, what's not, the problems they see, the things that need fixed, the things that need to be done better. And, like I said, I feel like there needs to definitely be maybe a few people that are designated just for those pro se people to help them through the process. Maybe having, because it is really confusing when you go into this stuff, people, that's why attorneys spend 4 years in law school, to learn how to do all this stuff. There's a lot to it. And every county is different. Every county has different requirements. So that makes it hard for people. If they've been through something in a different county and they come here and they're thinking what they did last time and they're trying to sort of do that, but that's not how we do it here. So I feel like maybe coming up with a guide system where, it's written down, you can give it to people where there's check boxes, there's the steps you take, that's what I do with my stuff when I'm learning something. I have to make a list. So, having that available online, but also having it available on paper to give to people, to mail to people because not everybody, I have a 97-year-old grandma. She doesn't do the internet. I get it. So I had a, 90-something-year-old neighbor. She didn't know how to type, I totally understand it. And it doesn't mean that they don't deserve help. And again, if people are only Spanish speaking, obviously we need to have everything in English and Spanish, and we need to have somebody there that's able to help them in their language. So, so that felt like a lot of rambling, but I really feel like a lot of this, I need to be able to get in there and I need to be able to talk one-on-one with everybody who's in there and find out what's going on and what's working, what's not from everybody else's perspective, and make some decisions about how we allocate resources and how to make things run smoother and easier for everybody. And I don't want, I don't want people like that to come into the clerk's office and walk away feeling bad or walk away feeling worse or feeling more confused, because I've experienced that with things myself. You go in for help and you leave feeling more confused than you were when you walked in. So we definitely want to make it easier for people. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we are down to our last question.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about access to justice during this interview. So tell us, with everything that you've shared today in mind, what does the term access to justice mean to you?
I think to me, it means that everybody deserves the same treatment through the court system. Everybody deserves what's right, what's fair. I'm kind of a person who usually kind of roots for the underdog, and so, I don't. It's always much easier if you have the money to get an attorney to help you. All that stuff is so much easier, but the people who aren't in that situation deserve to have all the same access to have their rights, served as well. So, um, I guess access just means that everybody should be able to walk in, call up, get the help they need to go through the steps they need to do what they've got to do. It doesn't mean that they're right or they're wrong or they're going to win or they're going to lose, but they certainly deserve to be heard, and they deserve to have someone help them through the process so that they can be heard.
Mhm.
Um, so I guess that's kind of a simple answer, but that's what it means to me. No
Okay.
matter who you are, no matter what you have, what you don't have, you deserve the same treatment.
Okay, well, thank you for that. That concludes our interview questions, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up. So
Okay.
thank you to Charlene Beck today for your time and your thoughtful responses. We really appreciate your participation in the process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.